for the seventh time. Welcome to the Mixed Martial Arts Podcast. I am your host once again. It's Ben Cohn, your boy. Joining me today, we got Bilal and Alejandro. This is the second week in a row we're all together again.
Hola.
Feels nice.
New record.
New record. It's really it's sad that almost is actually a record. Unless you just tie the heavyweight title defenses before Stipe broke it.
That's impressive.
It's really messed up. Anyway, I'm your host. Like I said, we're going to be talking about the UFC on Fox 31 main card. That's pretty much it. A couple of quick hits after that, but other than that, we're really just focusing on a couple of fights. It was a great night of fights overall. Very enjoyable. I'm looking forward to it. Lot to talk about. The reason why we're gonna really focus on the UFC card and not any of the Bellator events is that the topic of Bellator is a slightly sore issue for Alejandro. I'll let him quickly explain why. Go ahead. We'll let you have the floor.
Like somebody died or something. No. First of all, there's a bunch of things to say about Bellator, but it feels like we're gonna get derailed. Also, one of my faves, Alejandra Lara, lost her fight. We saw the demise of King Mo. Machida returned. Elimale McFarland did what she was expected to do. And that's about it. Like, yeah.
Michael Chandler won his title back.
Yeah, and it was a strange fight. In the round two, he struggled quite a bit, and then going forward, he just
did Michael Chandler thing.
Yeah, no, because he was very timid. Apparently, like he was very like holding. He did a lot of holding of Primus, and that kind of never went anywhere. In such a way that Brent Primus was going after the fight, saying he was afraid of standing up with me. So it's like, yeah, but you lost, so kind of time to move on from that, I guess.
Kind of beat the crap out of him on the ground, but yeah.
Yeah.
Let's jump into it. We have a very interesting topic, I think, in Kevin Lee to talk about. The main event was a really interesting fight. Iaquinta upset Kevin Lee to a unanimous decision. I didn't see much in the way of an argument saying Kevin Lee won that.
I could make an argument.
Right. I mean, like, I'm not saying people. I'm saying people online weren't arguing like, yo, he got robbed. People seemed to.
No, that was a close fight, but I don't think Lee had that strong an argument, anyways.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, to me, it looked like a tale of two fights. You had the first two rounds, which I think pretty clearly went to Lee.
Well, second and third, I think, went to Lee.
No, I think
first had a lot of striking.
Scored the third for Iaquinta.
Yeah, first and second could be said to go to Lee. Third could be the one that sort of it's a bit problematic. And fourth and fifth definitely went to Iaquinta.
So Lee's only strong round was the second.
Yeah, Lee's only strong round was the second round. Incidentally, I believe that was the time he spent the most time on the ground and did the most damage on the ground, shockingly.
Yeah.
Would have thought.
What a coincidence. What a coincidence. Well, let's get into that. Anyway, I guess the first thing we should really talk about is the man of the night, Iaquinta, Raging Al. Bravo. I want to point out that it's incredibly impressive that he can be this successful at lightweight while also having a second job. It's really cool that Stipe is a volunteer firefighter, but it's also heavyweight. So for Iaquinta to be a probably top 5 lightweight now and have a second job selling real estate is incredibly impressive to me. And he looked really sharp. He's not a guy that cuts a lot of weight. He's a really fun fighter. He's got power. He's not incredibly fast or explosive, but he has a way of just landing these awesomely weird, wonky shots from like that up jab that he uses. I
Yeah.
absolutely love
MMA angles, bro. MMA angles.
Yeah.
Indeed, those are MMA angles, right? No, like he was not like, I'm not comparing him to Anderson Silva. I want to make that clear. What I'm saying is the other prime example I can think of with the up jab is Anderson Silva. He used
And
to love
Khabib.
using that. Khabib, that's true. Fair point. But I think Khabib, that might just be because he doesn't know how to throw a regular jab.
That's also true.
It's AKA, man. I don't know. I'm joking. Please don't jump the computer at me.
Oh boy.
Listen.
Hey, man.
File that as a hate crime.
What?
Jewish, bro. Jewish. You know how we manipulate the system. Come on. All right. So,
Okay.
can I turn that out? No.
No, you can't.
No, I have to leave that one in. I've left in all your shit. So yeah, I mean, there was a lot to look at. He really did a great job neutralizing Kevin Lee, and I think he did. I think we also saw the downside of what Kevin Lee is, both personality-wise and some real holes in his style. Personality-wise, he dominated Iaquinta round 2 on the ground. Yet,
Personality-wise.
listen, hold on.
What?
In the first round, he stood with Iaquinta. It was fine. It was fine. He probably won that round. He outstruck him a little bit, landed some good shots. He got hit with some good shots, but he was still, there.
I think he put volume on him, like good volume.
Yes. Second round, dominates him on the ground, even on the feet. Any fighter after that would go, you know what? I'm kind of like getting hit with good shots. Let me bring this fight to the ground. Problem. All right. Yes, he gets some takedowns in round 3. Can't do anything with it. Waited too late in the round to initiate those takedowns. And instead of just immediately starting to work his ground game from the beginning, when he has more time and has more to work with, decides to stand with him again. Is getting clipped some good shots. I think he only shot with like a minute and a half left in the third round, instead of 3-4 minutes left. Seal the round for himself. Just didn't. And that I think is what I mean by its personality. He wanted to prove something, and it cost him the fight. And then in the 4th round, he didn't shoot a single takedown. In a round, he clearly lost. And in round 5, he shot 1 takedown. In a round, he clearly lost. And at that point, I think we just saw his confidence was gone, and he was getting beat up in the 4th, 5th round. And that's a problem, because we also saw some real holes in his style. Number one, the big one, can't fight off the back foot. And if you're a pressure fighter, if you're not a pressure fighter by nature and you can't fight off the back foot, that's a real problem, because he's fighting like a boxer puncher, where he was kind of pushing forward, kind of getting pushed back, fighting in the center, fighting against all of these. He's fighting pretty much everywhere in the cage, yet can't fight everywhere in the cage. And that's a real issue. And he ran out of ideas real quick on the feet. By round 3, he was out of ideas. And I know you're going to talk about his improvements in his meat and potatoes approach. But when your meat and potatoes approach is getting you beat up on the feet, then maybe it's time to do something different. And that something different should have been getting that fight to the ground and keeping it there, which he was able to do for the most part when he did. We're going to start with Alejandro this time, because we usually go to Bilal first.
Oh, God damn it.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I agree and disagree in some parts, right? Like, I agree with the fact that he should have done the things that you're saying. Like, he should have tried to wrestle more. He should have tried to push the pace more. Though now I'm going to disagree. I don't think his confidence was gone, but I think it was more an aspect of him actually running out of ideas, because I think he's a fighter that is extremely conscious of his cardio, number one. And number two, I think he is a fighter that tries to fight to prove a point to an extent. In that he was trying to prove that he had the cardio to keep going. And after the fight, he said he felt right. He felt okay. That he didn't fight to the best of his ability, but that he still had energy going, unlike the Tony Ferguson fight, in which he tired, like he was completely done.
He had a staph infection, so I don't know.
Yeah, but what I mean is that he feels in his mind that during the Ferguson fight he could not have done more, but in this one he could have done more. He feels like it was a winnable fight and that he made mistakes and that he lost it. As far as the wrestling is concerned, I think he knows, like from tussling a little bit with all, that he's not going to just take him down. And when he took him down, I think he had a very advantageous position, and he still couldn't sink in the choke. So that
But we're
sort of
talking about
cascades.
rounds,
I know,
and he
I
won
know, but
rounds. That's
I would argue that he won the first and the second. The first one is difficult.
right. No, he definitely won the second, is what I'm saying. The one
Yes.
where he had a good 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes of control and did damage. There's no real argument to say that he lost that round, obviously. And
Yes. But my argument is that he is extremely mindful of how he's, like, on top of fighting, he is doing a very difficult job of trying to manage himself, because if he goes all out, he's going to run out of energy very quickly at this weight. So I think that there is a good chance that a person that like him, that is so young in the sport still, he's like 25, 26 years old, like he's going to make these mistakes and get the kind of a position that he's fighting. So it seems to me that it is more logical for him to move up in weight, because he's expending too much mental strength and diligence just in trying to keep the proper pace on a fight. And we saw here that when all actually started pushing him and forcing him back, which Kevin Lee says he tried to fight on the back foot too much, which I don't think is true. I think he was forced into that type of fight. Like the wheels come off really quickly, like the training wheels. Imagine like going on a bike and you have your training wheels, and then this thing just sort of fell out, and he was like, holy shit, what do I do now? And you could see him struggling. And I think that he did not try to wrestle more because he couldn't. He literally couldn't. Like he was gasping for air. He was getting hit a lot, which also saps your energy. It saps your self-confidence. I mean, I don't think he got entirely lost in there, but I think that at some point he realized that whatever he was doing, he was wrong in trying that, and he could not just turn it back. Like he couldn't just change his approach because he was too tired by then. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna disagree with you there because
Okay.
I don't think he had the wrong approach. I just don't think that the approach should have, worked on Al 100% of the time. Because in the striking exchanges, what you notice is Al didn't let him have any success for free. Whenever Lee pushed forward, Al would sling a right hand counter. Whenever uh,
Yes.
whenever Lee tried jabbing, Al would fire a counter back there. When Lee shot in, I think we had a conversation sort of offline before that. Lee doesn't have a lot of very rangy tools for wrestling, so he'll typically try to hit a counter takedown while someone is punching, or he'll get them to the fence where he can work from there. But he tries to power through single takedowns without really chaining a lot of the time. And so, with Al pressuring him, the fence immediately became a lot harder to reach because Al had his back to the center of the cage. And also, Al's counters kind of stopped him from getting good setups for his reactive shots. So
Mm-hmm.
then, in the end, I mean, you saw the one exchange where Lee took him down there. He kind of had to clinch up with him in the middle of the cage and then run him all the way back into the fence. It's, I mean, that's not ideal. I mean,
I know,
Khabib,
but the
Khabib
point
shut
is,
down.
hmm?
Khabib shut down his striking because he could like shoot from like freaking 2 kilometers out and then still manage to land it. And that meant that Al couldn't counter him when he did, so he had to bait him in closer. With Lee, he always came forward and he was always there for the counter. So he was kind of forced to not immediately just shoot out in the open. And also because Al was landing a ton of body work. Like
Okay, yes,
it looked like he actually took a lot
hmm?
from the. It looked like Al actually took a lot from the Habib fight because towards the ends he was starting to hit Habib's body, and And in this fight here, like round 1, he's coming out and hitting Lee in the body.
It
So
definitely had an effect, yes. But what
Body
I'm
shots
saying
in
is
general
that
have an effect.
I'm sorry, but
Body shots in general just have an effect, and it's amazing to me that MMA fighters still need to be told to throw to the goddamn body.
well,
yes, you do not recover from
we'll
that.
get to that in like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, but my overall argument was that as far as his the choices that he made, like what fighting is like making, you have to make choices, but there's such a thing as making the wrong choice at the wrong time and then not being able to make the right choice later because you don't have the energy anymore. And I think Lee would have fared better. Maybe he doesn't win the striking exchanges, but kind of like Brian Ortega, where he just said, fuck self-preservation. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to try to make something happen. You can see that in Ortega, and he had some success there, even though he lost
But
the fight. But
Lee was getting hurt by Al. Like he
yeah,
can do
I
that
know.
and he get hurt even more.
I know,
Like
but that's where I'm getting at. What do you prefer? To lose like Kevin Lee lost, or to lose the way Brian Ortega did? Because I know which one I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna choose, and I'm gonna choose to be Kevin Lee. But Kevin Lee did not like the way he lost. Like after the fight, he was saying, "I should have done more. I should not
Well,
have."
he also thought he won. That's why.
yeah, I mean
Yeah, I know,
That was
I
part
know.
of it. He didn't
rounds 1 and 3
feel
were
the need to
close.
go out all out because he thought he won.
Yeah, but that's kind of the problem. Like that's what he
Oh, of
was
course, it's a
complaining
problem.
at the end.
I'm not saying it's not a problem. I'm saying he didn't. Ortega. It wasn't the last round, and he didn't win 2 of the rounds. Ortega was like, "I'm getting the shit kicked out of me, and if I don't do something different, I'm going to continue to just get the shit kicked out of me." Lee was like, "I just need to survive, and I'll win the fight."
Yeah, but that's the problem because he was getting hit hard. Like
No,
when you have rounds that are too close, like you have to do something. And I think
I'm
that's
in
kind of
agreement.
but
the lesson he took.
are you forgetting the 5th round? He was getting shit kicked in the 5th.
No. He
Yeah,
was not getting shit kicked. He got hit
no,
with
not
He
shit
was
kick, but
hard. He got
he
he
hit
was
was
with
getting
getting
two really
connected.
hard
shit kicked
shots.
from midway through the 5th round. He was getting shit kicked. I
Well,
mean, you
I think
that's
saw
he
how
was
much
controversial.
he got
how
rocked.
much he got hurt.
Yeah, that is controversial. That is controversial. I don't think he was necessarily getting his shit kicked, but he was being shown that his technical capacity to keep up with all was dwindling. Like I will put it that way.
Okay. Maybe that was a bit of hyperbole, but he was getting nothing done with Al on the feet. He couldn't get the takedown, and he was getting rocked
He didn't
every 30
shoot a single
seconds by
time in the
Al.
first round.
I'm talking about the 5th.
Oh,
I
fifth
know.
round.
I know.
Fifth.
Yes, I agree with the fifth. I thought we were talking about the first.
Same. I thought we were talking about the first. Yeah. The 5th round, he was getting the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
that was
at
bad.
that point, there's not much harder you can do. Like
I know, but I'm talking somewhere
4th
between
round,
the
3rd round.
third and fourth round. Like third and fourth round, like that was the time to change things up, and he did not do that. That's it.
true, but again, rounds 1 and 3 were very close. I mean,
Yes.
if he pushed harder, he might have gassed even faster.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. Like he needs to move up in weight, in my opinion, right?
Right. But the problem I have with him moving up, and I think that I'm going to talk about it here, it's a problem he has at 155, and it's a problem. It hurt him here, and it'll hurt him even more at 170. Is that
Oh, that's
part of the
interesting.
reason that Al struggled with Khabib's wrestling is the chaining. So listen, Al is really good. He has good takedown defense. I think he's like a 73% takedown defense rating, which is really solid. Now,
Uh-huh.
what's important to note is that like when he was stuffing those shots against Lee, he was taken down 3 out of 5 times. When he stuffs those shots, it's the ones that Lee wasn't able to continue to chain. Anything where he's able to like slip to the back or something like that, for the most part, he was able to do. But virtually all elite MMA fighters are going to have good takedown defense. Virtually. There are examples that those that don't, like Carlos Condit.
Don't say that. You're gonna lose one viewer.
Listen, she knows. she knows. But like I'm just giving, he's the most premier example of an elite fighter who had bad takedown defense. Now, when everyone can stuff a shot, the elite wrestlers are either so beyond overpoweringly athletic that they could just blast through and you're not ready, like Tyron Woodley, and how Kevin Lee has been doing it until now. Or there are people like Khabib, Damian Maia, those who could chain it together, who will continue to attack and attack and attack until they know more than you and can just find something that works until their body is no longer physically capable of doing it, like Damian Maia. So
that's kind of like you went really, really high, and then you went really, really
I went
low.
as low as you can go there. So that's
We
where
still love
the
Damian.
limits of Kevin Lee are going to be. So at lightweight, he's going to have a lot more success just because he's so overpowering. The problem is the crippling weight cut and his gas tank and his chin, which I don't know if it'll improve going up, because I do want to talk
That's
about his
not
chin.
too bad.
I don't think
Not
it's
too
bad. I think it's a problem, because when you are already have a suspect gas tank, you can't also have a suspect chin. All right.
Yeah,
That's
but
what I'm
but
trying to
they,
Yeah, and
yeah.
also his own
Mm,
flaws on the feet
What?
kind of bring his own flaws on the feet kind of bring it out of it.
yeah, I would say this. I would say this.
He got rocked like 3 or 4 times against Al. He's
Yeah,
been
but all
knocked out
hits
before.
hard.
He's been knocked out before. He's been knocked down before. I understand he hits hard, but my point is that he's getting hurt by the shots that other fighters who other elite fighters are eating. And I'm not saying that it makes him chinny. I'm saying relative to the highest levels,
I know, but like,
he's chinny.
not everybody's gonna have like a crazy Robbie Lawler chin at its apex.
Okay, Edson
Like,
Barboza's chin is better than Kevin Lee's, and Edson Barboza,
no,
yes,
no,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
I don't think it is.
I
I don't think. First of all, I don't think we have really seen like Kevin Lee truly plastered
he
enough
got
to say
TKO'd
that.
by Leonardo Santos of all people.
Okay, fair
No,
enough.
he
But
wasn't
okay,
completely
but
out.
dude, Edson Barboza was KO'd by, I don't remember his name, the Worm. Do you remember that guy?
Jamie
He was,
Varner, he was
yes,
TKO.
Jamie
Yes.
Barner, who is now selling stem cell stuff now somewhere in South
Seriously,
America.
I
Yeah,
met
he's.
him, by the way. Super nice dude. Like,
I don't doubt it.
super nice dude.
He went back to college and did a bunch of things. Good on him.
Good for him, man.
Shout
Like,
out to
'cause
him.
I always like, after I met him, I was like, I always wanted him to succeed, and he had a bunch of weird fights after he like after he had that amazing war with Joe Lozon, and then got triangled, and I think he was like, I think he could have won that decision, but
Yes, yes. But to go back to the, not to get in the way of that, but to come back to the topic, he did finish Barboza. You remember that?
right. But Jamie Varner has won almost half his fights by knockout.
I know, but the punch that he hit Barboza with, it wasn't like some like fight-ending shot. Like,
It was a
whoa.
big overhand right.
Yeah, like okay,
Yeah.
I'm a big Barboza fan, but he got dropped by a Cerrone jab.
Okay,
Yeah.
you got
He's
right, but I
actual
think
no
that was
no
a
I'm
product
I'm
of
not saying Lee or
defense.
Barboza are chinny per se, but they are clearly more fragile and have to rely on the ability to recover.
Like, okay, like there are chins, right? Let's grade chins. There are like A chins, and there's like A plus 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 chins. And Kevin Lee has like an A chin.
I think he
Like,
has no. I think he's more like a B plus A minus.
damn it. Okay. Well, fair enough. Okay. But that could also be a product of the cut.
Yeah, right. So
I'm
that's what I'm
willing to give him the benefit of the doubt if he moves up and he it until then, right?
saying.
If he
Right.
still keeps getting wobbled by some shot, but also, man, like, watch those shots he was getting hit with, like
Right.
those weren't like just
Where I
simple
agree.
shots.
I think his chin will be better if he goes up, but I also don't think he's good enough on the feet to avoid getting hit clean.
Oh,
by
yes,
the better
I see what you mean.
welterweights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And I
but
think his wrestling game is the type of wrestling game that will allow him to succeed against those larger welterweights, because he does rely heavily on his athletic ability, his strength, and his shot. Right? He
yeah,
doesn't have Khabib's or Amaya style of chain
yeah.
wrestling necessarily that will
What
allow.
he's lacking in,
His grappling is really freaking good. But his wrestling is not as good at his submission grappling, in my opinion, or his ground fighting, I would
yeah,
say.
what he probably
Yeah, no,
needs.
he
Hmm?
kind of no, I was just gonna say he kind of reminds me of Jacare because both of them rely on a power wrestling game where everything needs to be done athletically to someone who's less athletic than them. Otherwise, it's easy to get stalled out in position because they'll like. I mean, yeah, there was a point in the fight where Lee tried grabbing a single leg on the fence, and Al just kind of stalled him out. Then it took Lee a good while before he figured out what to do.
Yeah, he's lacking in technique. He needs to get back to sort of a wrestling base and figure things from there. Like, yeah.
Go to AKA.
It should be noted. It should be noted that he is only 6 years into his career.
Yes.
Granted, he's had a lot of fights, especially and most of them in the UFC. I think he came to the UFC at like what 6-0, 7-0,
Yes.
something like that, and we've seen him grow up, which is why we've seen all his flaws and failures as well as his successes. He's kind of like the Ryan Bader syndrome or the Dustin Poirier syndrome, where we've seen them grow up, so we constantly will underrate them, I'm sure. But
Edson Barboza syndrome.
Edson Barboza syndrome, true. So what I think is with Kevin Lee, and I think we'll have these be our final thoughts. I think what we need to say with Kevin Lee is that the issue with him is that he is really a tweener. He does need a 165-pound division where he's not cutting a tremendous amount of weight, although he'll probably still cut a lot, while also not being the smallest guy, one of the smaller guys in the division. He is huge. He's not going to be, I think he'd be maybe a little bigger than RDA, but we've seen RDA struggle with those huge guys. Like, I can't see Kevin Lee beating Usman. I just can't, and I can't see him outstriking Robbie Lawler. So
I can't see him outstriking.
He can. I think he can. I think he can just explode forward, throw an overhand, and punch him in the face and put him to sleep.
Kevin Lee doesn't have. We don't know if Kevin Lee's power will translate.
Yeah, but
that's one thing that doesn't always translate because he's not a dude who relies on his. Who's not like. I don't know about that.
He's already not a power puncher.
He might become one, but like, it's not something I think you could rely on. Like, can you honestly see him like hanging on the feet with Ponzinibbio?
No.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can't see him hanging on the feet with Usman.
That's mean.
So, I think
no, it's not mean. I'm being like realistic here. Usman in the RDA fight was able to string together combinations a lot more smoothly.
But that came off the grappling. The grappling part.
I think a big part of that is also that Kevin Lee, I don't know if you guys are aware, I think his reach is like an 80-inch reach.
Somewhere down there, yeah.
When you're cutting that much weight and you're that, like his body type is so weird. He's 5'8", 5'9", with an 80-inch reach. That's ridiculous. I think that would actually serve him better at welterweight, weirdly enough, where the guys will be slower. So if he tries to throw combinations, he might actually be able to utilize them. But I digress. But yeah, I'm nervous for Kevin Lee. I think without a 165 division, we're going to really see him struggle at 170. I do think that the benefits of moving up might outweigh the negatives, where he could probably I think if he was smart, he would use this next year or two just to get some good experience and keep working and building his game. If he's not going to be a pressure fighter, he should work on his game off his back foot, really work some good counters, and try and work on his chain wrestling and reactive shots. Those are the things I would focus on. I think he can still utilize, like you said, Alejandro, you'll talk about his meat and potatoes boxing, but I would like to see, from a grappling perspective, the things I would like to see him work on are his chain wrestling and his reactive shots while he's being pushed back when he doesn't want to.
Yeah, that is fair because Kevin Lee seems like the kind of fighter that would really benefit of becoming a threat on the ground so much that he can open up his striking, because he doesn't seem like he has a meat and potatoes approach that I like, but he struggles a lot more in striking than he does in grappling. So yeah, I mean, it would greatly benefit his striking to become a better grappler. I agree.
Well, I mean, his top game is still very scary.
Yes.
But it's just that he has all those good parts in his striking, but they don't quite mesh together. I mean,
Yet.
You look at him, yet. Look at him when he jabs. I was able to counter him because he knew exactly where Lee's head was going to be. And Lee also had this kind of, habit of first stepping into range and taking a split second before he threw anything, which I would then
Mhm.
hit him again. And it's kind of the net effect of all these little small things plaguing him that seem to make the most difference. But I
Yes,
mean, I
no,
don't think he'd have to go up to 170 to or 165 to really move past this. I mean,
yes,
it,
Kevin Lee has
it's
a
all
problem.
there.
Hmm?
It's all no, it's all. I was just gonna say it's all there. He just kind of needs a coach who can actually bring it together for
Well,
him.
yes, because his issue is an issue that a bunch of fighters have, like young fighters, um, in that they have a bunch of individual techniques that they know they can do well. Like they have this proper technique, but when it comes to actually applying it in a competitive context, these sort of the seams show like these things are new. Like you still have to contextualize them more. And Kevin is in he's kind of in that journey right now. He's not at the place where somebody like say Usman or RDA or Poncinibio is. Like he's just not. So he kind of has to glue them together a little bit more, and that's going to be like what he's going to be doing for at least a year, I think. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. And with that, we're going to move along to our next topic. Edson Barboza um, deciding that he really, really has something personal against the insides of Dan Hooker.
Yeah, he I think that is something he has had for a long time. I don't think he just likes guts in other people, so he
Right. It's something that really, really upsets.
bothers him.
I don't blame him. Other people's insides also bother me, but not enough that I decide to remove them
Remove
on
them.
national
Yeah.
television.
Yeah,
So, I mean, like, what can we talk about here? I think the first thing we need to note is that Dan Hooker is way too tough for his own good. That was a little bit hard to watch at the end.
yeah,
Uh,
because his corner sucks.
his corner sucks. The referee sucks. Just
Everyone
everything about
sucks.
that was just hard to watch by the end of the third round.
Yeah,
I
he was
love
collapsed.
Dan Hooker.
He collapsed after the second round. He didn't even sit on a stool,
They
and
didn't
they
bring him
still
a stool.
yeah because why he can get up
Yeah, and it
like
was just hard to watch all around that part of
yeah.
it. I mean, credit to Dan Hooker for being so goddamn tough. I was rooting for him. I didn't think he would win, but I wanted him to. You know
Oh, screw you, Ben. I'm on the
what?
Barboza train for life.
What?
He
I'm on
lost
the
Barboza.
Barboza train for life.
I didn't say he would lose. I just wanted Hooker to win.
Yeah, and screw you for that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, the thing, what was kind of, we had already seen something like this when he was struggling to close the distance on Jair Rodriguez at 145.
Yeah, but
Uh,
he was also cutting so much weight at
I
145.
know,
It
but
was
But
that
he didn't.
he struggles
very
with
hard
kicks a
to
bit.
take much from his 145 run just because he's 6 foot tall. Or
I know.
he was murdering himself to make that weight.
Yeah, but the
Yeah, but
weight, the lack of a weight cut didn't give him more speed. He was still just as foot slow at lightweight as featherweight.
Right, but he's also fighting
because
slower guys, slightly slower.
It's Barboza in this case.
And that's where we run into our issue here because when you
Yeah,
fight guys like Barboza, you're not really encountering a huge
yeah,
speed.
like the first minute where he starts trading kicks with Barboza, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Just
don't
anything
just
except
don't.
that.
Right. Okay. So
You need
here's
to
the
do
No,
what
first
Jimmy
thing.
Barner did. You need to
Here-
do what Jimmy Barner did.
correct. What I think we need to note is that you don't play kick trading with Edson Barboza. Rule
No.
number goddamn one.
And 1 to 100.
And exactly. Those are the first 100 goddamn rules. Is there a kick? Yes. Are you trading it with Barboza? Yes. Move to the original portion of the chart where we say rules 1 through 100. Do not fucking do it. That's number one. Number two,
101.
number two, like I think we really need to note. I said this on Twitter. We said this on Twitter. Really, it was a travesty that fight wasn't stopped by his corner or the ref. Like it really needs to be hammered home. This is a real problem, and someone's gonna get killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry to get somber on everybody for a second there, but someone's gonna die, and it's gonna be a problem. Now, we gave our credit to Dan Hooker's toughness. We've thrown shade at the corner and the ref. Let's get into our argument where Alejandro is now going to make his case for something which I disagree with. Overall, I think there's not enough evidence of what he's claiming. And as a scientist, you'd think he would
It's a
need more
hypothesis,
evidence.
which can be proved.
Hypothesis has no evidence
Which
behind it.
no. A hypothesis need no quote unquote evidence. All you need to do is some sound judgment and then make a propositive statement that can be disproven. Okay? So what I'm going to say is that he does seem to have changed his approach somewhat, not in the way that his skills are there, but the way in which they are being aimed by the new people that he's training with, because he's now training with, he's done with Mark Henry. He went back to Florida to be with his family, and so he's training now with ATT. And the ATT people have aimed his skills in a different manner. And I think we are seeing that already, in that he just plans a little bit more, he throws a little bit more, he seems more content with initiating striking exchanges,
which he shouldn't.
perhaps because of the chin, right? But
Not
it,
even that. Okay, I'll let you finish. I'll get back to that.
yes. Um, and so you're seeing him change his approach. Like I think it's very obvious that he's just not the same type of fighter when he's with ATT, like as he was when he was with Mark Henry. Now, is that a problem for him? Do we have reason to worry? Yeah, we probably do a little bit, because he enters more frank into exchanges. With that, before he always just moved past them, use footwork as his defense. But that he seems to be changing that, and probably wants to do that because he had two very bad outings, and he wants to get something back from those. But I don't know. It worries me a little bit in that aspect. But I am still hopeful that he can get something done with these new people. I hope I'm wrong in that it's more problematic than it isn't, but it remains to be seen. What do you think?
I think it's problematic, yeah, but I don't think it's so much a different approach. Because in this fight, you still saw a lot of him pivoting off to the side or circling to get another position before offloading. But what
Yeah.
I did notice is before, he kind of, when someone was pressuring him, he kind of set his feet, throw out a combo, which
Move
would
out.
usually just be like winning power shots, and then he'd
Mhm.
step out again.
Yeah.
And I think that might have been in camp Mark Henry just telling him no every time he did that. Because, I mean, in this fight here, he'd do that and then he'd stay there. And then he'd
Hmm.
get into this long exchanges where he'd slowly start looking less comfortable as time went on until he eventually backed out of it. And I think it also showed in his gas tank because we've never seen him gassed doing his thing. I mean, against Melendez, Pettis, okay, Tony gassed after that
Yes.
face Tony put on him. But whenever he's been in control, we've never seen him gassed. And
Yeah.
now now it looks like he's trying to do a bargain John Lineker impression in the center of the cage,
A
and you
little
can
bit.
see he's not suited for it.
Yeah, but that's kind of why. Like, I think he's still trying things in his new camp, and so he is trying with um, increasing his activity and throwing with more power. And those two things are going to tire the shit out of you. If especially in a 3 round fight, like it's not like he was throwing like feelers like before, like his style with Mark Henry, it wasn't all full power. Like it was a bunch of full power shots, but at the same time he was throwing feelers out there. He was setting some things up differently, and he had a bunch of exits. Like he was using the jab to actually exit the pocket. And we did see, I don't think I saw any of that here. I think he was throwing to hurt you, like really, really hard, really, really fast, and that saps your energy. Like I think that maybe, like I think that we can say for certain whether it helps or not on his next fight. If he shows up doing the exact same thing and gets tired halfway through the second round from just beating on a guy, like he
All
can
right.
be
hold on a second.
counteracted.
I want to point
Yeah,
out.
but what I think is that it's not so much them trying to change his style to that, but as much as it is ATT, just they like to teach pocket boxing and sitting down in punches.
Well, yeah,
And
but that is
I
changing
mean,
the style.
yeah, but no, like I said earlier, in Barboza's old fights, you could see a lot of this crop up, especially in the later rounds, especially when he's trying to get the guy scared of his power.
Hmm.
And now it looks like he's at the camp, puts a focus on it, and all of a sudden it's like just someone telling him, yes, he can do that. And it's clearly, well, I mean, from this fight so far, it looks like his old style was better, not just in terms of conserving his cardio, but also just getting him hit a lot less. I mean,
Yeah, but
can you
yes, I
imagine
see.
he had to fight another wrestler and he's plants his feet for like 3 seconds at a time?
It remains to be seen. Like I think second outing, I can see what you're saying, but Ben wanted to say something.
Yeah. What I wanted to say was that Dan Hooker is not Kevin Lee, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Beneil Dariush, or Tony Ferguson. He's not any of these guys. He's not Michael Johnson. He's not even Anthony Pettis. What
Yeah,
I'm
that
saying
is a
Yeah,
is
good
that
point.
but neither was Gilbert Melendez.
Gilbert Melendez got his leg chewed up at range and couldn't do anything, and he still did better than Dan Hooker.
Yeah,
Like
no, but Hooker got his
Hooker
everything chewed up and then still landed more on Barboza.
Hooker had success because of the way Edson Barboza was fighting. The only reason he was able to, when he realized he's going to trade in the pocket with me so I can land punches, Hooker landed a good amount of shots. He landed, I think he was outlanded 126 to 81, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
So, but
Oh my God.
over almost half of his shots, just under half of his shots were in round 2 when he just decided, I'm going to do to Edson Barboza what everybody who's been successful at beating him has done, and that's walk forward. The problem is his body was so fucked already that he couldn't do anything at that point, and he just got the shit kicked out of him again. Also, Edson's a way better athlete, and just,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
like physically he wasn't able to do anything, but what Hooker needed to do was draw Edson onto his shots. The problem is he couldn't do that because Edson's much faster and a better outfighter than him. Now, he's not going to do that. So what should he have done? From the get-go, he should have been pushing Edson and forcing the exchanges when he didn't want them. So I don't think there's any real reason to think Edson would have changed his style, because when Hooker started pushing him back, we saw the old Edson. We saw the guy backing up. We saw the guy trying to get out of the pocket. We saw the guy who only threw in order to escape or to back Hooker off.
Yeah, but that's what you're saying. That version took longer to get to because Edson would get stuck in these long exchanges,
and
and
here's what
towards the end, he'd be like, you know what? I think I'll circle out.
Here's what I'm
Before
saying.
Edson would pop a combo and circle out immediately.
But I don't think that's the case. I think we only saw it take that long to get to him because Dan Hooker didn't make that a priority. Edson was more than happy to just kickbox with him at range and land these punishing kicks, a couple of good shots on the inside when he needed to, and that's it. Hooker wasn't forcing long boxing combinations in the pocket. He was trying to kickbox with him. Also, we saw this with Pettis. Pettis wasn't able to get anything going on the outside and just got kickboxed at range. We didn't see the Edson Barboza who had to fire back in the pocket because Edson wasn't forced to. Edson only fires in the pocket when he's pushed. When Hooker pushed him in the pocket, Edson fired back. That's just
I'm not sure I agree. Okay, let me ask you a question. Just a question for Ben. Do you think or not that ATT has actually had an influence in how Barboza approached this fight? Like his technical game plan, if you will. Do you believe that it had an effect? Yes or no?
No way to tell. I don't think there's any way to tell. I don't.
Okay, fair enough. I think
so, because I don't see Dan Hooker fought such a different fight than everyone else before him. Maybe back to like Melendez. And Melendez got chewed up at range and then could not physically pressure because his leg was so chewed up already. So I can't say. I'm not making a judgment call here. I'm just saying I don't think there's any reason to say yet that ATT has had any sort of effect or change on his style. All I think is that what we saw in the cage against Dan Hooker are things we've already seen before from Edson, just in the context of the fight is why it looked different.
Yeah,
I
but
don't agree, but I can see why you think that.
no, but that's kind of what I was saying. His style didn't really change that much. It's just that he's been doing stuff that got him in trouble before a lot more with Hooker. Whereas
Yeah,
before, even when he had the fight under control, he didn't take that risk.
I would be
Now,
out there.
especially in the second round here, where you get into those long pocket exchanges, it took a long time for him to exit that exchange. Before, he'd pop out immediately. He'd throw in two hooks and go out, and then maybe come at it again.
It could also just
In
be
this
that
fight,
he knew Hooker. He didn't feel in danger at all from Hooker, and he just
okay,
left.
fair enough. That is a decent argument, but still, I mean, it was quite a noticeable change.
Like,
Even though
like,
his style didn't change, just that particular elements were there was a lot more focus on it, and I don't
let
think.
me put it this way: like the last time Edson got a finish was Benil Dariush with like a flying knee.
Yeah.
Like Edson likes having highlight reel stuff.
He does.
So it could be that like after two absolute shit kickings, he really wanted to finish.
Yeah, that is very possible also.
Like Edson is a guy who really thrives on being confident, and those
Mhm.
beatings definitely took some confidence out of it, some wind out of his sails. So, man, the way I look at it is that I think he just got an opponent where he could style on, and he liked it.
But he got hit way too much.
I think right. I think a big product of that is that like at first he didn't want to, but then he also realized like he could, and I don't think that's something Edson has realized ever. Like I don't think there's ever been a fight where he felt like, yeah, I can eat this guy's shots without an issue.
Probably. We're gonna see next fight. Oh, by the
Yeah,
way, I have a question.
well,
Like,
not necessarily. It depends who he fights.
yeah, but whether no, I mean whether ATT has an actual like noticeable difference in the way he approaches fights,
Fair.
right?
I don't remember who also said this last night, but I think it's a point worth mentioning. He might be slowing down, and this is how he's dealing with that. Where he's
Yeah, I
just
made I made that point.
yeah,
Yeah, he's
and
probably just father time being an asshole.
yeah, because look at Aldo. He's way more active in the pocket now. Granted, he's being
Hmm.
forced to do so,
Yes.
but like he might just be like, I can't really use the old style. I have to. But with Aldo, he has far more finishing power than Edson, and is a better striker also. So
Yeah, he's a much better pocket boxer.
anyway, go on.
Yeah. By the way, one question: are we gonna talk about what Ali Iaquinta did right? Because we just angsted about Kevin Lee for a while, and we
Well, that's
didn't
our
really
thing.
talk about how good Ali Iaquinta was.
Oh yeah,
I mean, we're kind of angsty. That's kind of our thing. We don't talk
Yeah,
about
I
it.
know, but
I even wanted to mention that he kind of fights like a Bizarro southpaw.
No, we should talk about
Like, I mean, he's
really.
orthodox, but he fires a lot of leads.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Fine, let's do a quick breakdown of what Al did right.
MMA angles, bro. MMA angles.
What are those MMA angles, bro?
It's funny because I think he's misleading in the way he moves his shoulders, so that you don't quite know where the punch is gonna come from, like the direction, and that's why he kept catching Lee. Like
Well,
he throws this.
80% of the time, it's a right hand. That's why I
Yes,
said he's like a Bizarro southpaw.
Yeah, he also. It should be mentioned, I think, about Al in particular, that the last time he fought a striker, I guess,
mhm, yes,
is George Masvidal,
yeah.
and before that, it was Ross Pearson, who's quite slow.
Hmm.
So while I do think Al is a good striker. I really do. I also think he's slightly untested against other good strikers.
Yeah.
Potentially true.
But with regards to what he actually was doing right, I think we can definitely focus on those body punches. He put that money in the bank. I really liked his shifting and a lot of his. He was able to utilize a lot of good head movement to make Kevin Lee miss.
For MMA standards, he was very good.
Yeah. I mean, we're obviously talking MMA standards. Kevin Lee was thrown like he only landed 34% of his strikes compared to Al's 48. Like, did a really good job. And so was those. I think his little shifting punches were really, really interesting. Um, his what else?
His temperament. Like, I just doesn't get discouraged.
No, he
Like,
does not, and I really
he
enjoyed that
yeah,
moment.
he can face any kind of adversity. Like, we have seen him face all kinds of adversity, be it striking or grappling, where he's decidedly not winning the fight, and he figures out a way to sort of inch himself back into it. And not a
Long
lot of fighters
Island
can say that.
strong. Long Island strong.
Oh Lord.
Fun
Well, yes.
fact. Fun fact. I live about a half hour away from Cerro Longo.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Hmm.
Have you met Gian Vellante yet?
I would make that a priority. That's not a joke. Jean Vellante seems like a really cool dude. I'm not joking.
Have,
He
have you
actually,
seen that video where they shot like something where they dressed as wrestlers for Chris Whiteman's son's party, like birthday party?
no, I didn't.
Yeah, he's so sweet. Like, he's a huge dude, like huge lug of a guy, but he seems like a sweet guy.
Dude, did you see that video? Do you remember when he got eye poked by OSP?
No,
Well, he did.
no.
So afterwards,
Oh,
he made like a whole video about like I think it was eye poke defense or whatever it was. It was just really cute and funny and corny, and he seems like a really funny, nice guy. I like John Vellante. I always root for him.
yeah.
I always root for him. Anyway, anything else you guys wanted to point out about Al?
No, I think that's it. I'm happy with Al, by the way. I hope he gets to fight at least Tony Ferguson or someone.
I would really not want to see him fight Tony. Not right now.
What, you want him to get that Conor McGregor match?
Wins that fight, I would
like that.
I would be interested in either Connor, which is never going to happen,
Yeah.
or Poirier.
That would be a good test to see whether he can stand up to elite strikers.
Yeah. And also, I mean, I don't want Poirier to fight anybody. I want Poirier to get his goddamn title shot.
Oh God, yes.
So
finally.
Let's just put Al versus Anthony Pettis.
No, Al is coming off a win.
Right. And Anthony Pettis is a very winnable fight.
Why do you hate Pettis?
So many reasons.
No, it's not enough. Dude's been through enough already.
No, he hasn't.
No, he hasn't. Like the way you say it.
As I whisper goodnight to your
No.
moving along.
There's a restraining order.
I'm terrible. I'm sorry. I know.
There is a restraining order coming your way from Anthony Pettis.
Speaking of a Pettis, Sergio got beat up by Rob Font last night.
Yeah.
Just real quick, I don't think we learned anything new about Rob Font.
No.
We learned that Sergio Pettis really can't compete at bantamweight physically.
I think what we have learned, however, is the limits of striking in MMA. That's what we have learned. That there can be two fighters, both with good jabs, like good working jabs, and nothing else. So the guy with the longest reach is going to win that fight 9 out of 10 times, and that's what we saw. And what's interesting is that Pettis had no other tools, like boxing tools, to accommodate for that. Like, I'm not saying that he would have won. What I'm saying is that he could have made a better showing, but he didn't have these technical tools to deal with a jab, like a proper stalking game, like, or, to actually move to the side. Like, he didn't pivot to the side. He didn't do like a hop step to the right or to the left and then throw an overhand. Like, he did do none of those things. He just kept trying to fight the same battle he was losing over and over and over again.
Well, he's developed that style throughout his whole career, and it's what worked. So the problem, I think, and I do disagree here. What we do disagree with here is I think the physicality played a far greater role than anything else.
No, I agree. I don't disagree that it played a great role. What I am saying is that he could have made a much better showing, but since
I think he would have won. If he was similar size to Rob Font, I think he would have won. I mean, he already Like he got outlanded by I think 40 significant strikes.
Yeah.
And overall strikes even less, like 30. So
Yes.
I mean, at 5'6" and very clearly outsized, and the power differential and the strength differential, and including all that ground work, he still was able to land 71 significant strikes. You know,
but my argument is not
most of them to
necessarily.
the head.
Yeah, but my argument is not necessarily tied to how he did necessarily, but it's about MMA, like how strikers are still not developed to the point where they
Oh,
can
of course
deal
not.
with a jab. Like it's just a jab. Like they fought, they have these tools, but they do not develop counter tools for those. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
when you have two good jabbers, the guy with the longest arms is going to win. Like always, it seems like unless you have somebody that can actually move his head and do other things like proper countermeasures, what we saw last night is going to keep happening over and over and over again.
I will point to one example that I do know that did not happen.
How so?
Robbie Lawler versus Rory McDonald.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
thinking the same thing. But Lawler's a different. Lawler's a
Yes,
different.
but Robbie has tools to
Also
deal with
very
that.
different.
I know,
Yeah.
I know, I know.
I mean, he has like a deep pocket boxing game.
Very deep.
Yeah.
Mostly
It
MMA
doesn't
fighters are
come
like,
out
oh
as
my
much.
god, a jab.
Could you imagine if Robbie Lawler didn't enjoy getting punched in the face so much? How
I don't
good
think
would
he
have been?
enjoys it. I just think he ignores it.
Right. Could you imagine if he didn't do that though?
No, that would be bad.
Also,
But
I disagree with
then
you
we
that he
wouldn't
doesn't
see fifth
enjoy it.
round.
That he doesn't enjoy it. When Robbie was getting fucking blasted with combinations by Johnny Hendricks and laughing his ass off like a maniac, you're gonna tell me he wasn't enjoying himself there?
Well, I think he was enjoying the process, but not necessarily getting punched.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
not
he
being
loaded a
literal.
lot of those. No, he loaded a lot of those punches.
Right, I'm not being literal when I say he likes it. Like he's not gonna stand there and go, "Hit me, it gets me off." Like he's not doing that.
Whoa, wow!
No,
How did we get there? How did we
but
get there?
but counterpoint: if Lawler doesn't get hit, he doesn't lose rounds, and that means we don't see fifth round Lawler.
Yeah, that is very true, and we like first from Lawler.
I kind of would love to see a rematch between him and Woodley somehow, where we get to see fifth round Lawler versus Woodley.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't think
now,
he gets to the fifth round.
No, I
No.
don't.
yeah.
I know that's the problem. I don't think he would ever make it to the fifth round, at least, especially not now.
Nah, before I think he would before, but today would be a dicey proposition.
I think before the Rory and Condit fights, he would have.
Maybe he would.
There. Anyway, moving on, we're going to discuss Charles Oliveira doing slick ass jiu-jitsu shit and submitting Jim Miller 1 minute and 15 seconds into the first round, suplexing him, taking the back. Can we just point out Charles Oliveira has the most sublime offensive jiu-jitsu probably in MMA history, if not three.
I have no way of knowing because I didn't watch that fight because my internet is shit.
No,
It was sad. Don't bother.
Your internet is shit, but so are you.
Shut up.
Yeah, that was hurtful. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, there's really not much to talk about in the fight. Jim Miller is pretty shot anyway, but it was the rematch nobody was asking for, but it was kind of like, I mean, why not? It's not like any of them had anything to do. So I mean, I don't have.
Does Oliveira still want to move down to 145?
Yeah, he called out Max Holloway.
Why?
I don't know. Do you remember their first fight? He just like went down from like a dim mock death touch or some shit like that. I don't know.
And I don't know why he says. I think that's just something he says to see whether he sticks or not, but he doesn't really mean it. I hope.
I don't know what he means anymore. Chucky Olives is a weird dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to see him stay at 155. I mean, he's been pretty good since moving back up. What is he, like 3-2 or 3? He's 4-1 since moving up. He's beaten. The only person he lost to was Paul Felder, who has a uniquely physical style, which is what Charles always struggled with. But I mean, he beat Will Brooks, Clay Guida, Christos Giagas, and Jim Miller now. I think he should just keep fighting people at that level, and he'll just have a good career.
No, you know
Yeah.
what's gonna happen? He's gonna win the title, and then in the interview, he's gonna be like, "I want to go back down to 145."
I want to be a double champ, a
He's
champ
gonna move
champ.
up to welterweight. He's gonna move up to welterweight and take that title from Woodley by like a heel hook or something.
Oh, I know
Just be
they'll
like,
say
I
that.
really want to go back down to featherweight, man. I think I could really. Next, he's fighting at heavyweight. He's
And
back.
he still wants
He's
to
like,
go
I
there.
think I could still make the cut, man. I think I could still.
No, just stay at lightweight, pay good money, like feed your
Yeah.
horses. He has a horse farm. Did you know that?
Why does that not surprise me?
I
I
don't know.
didn't
Like
know it, but it doesn't surprise me.
yeah, like the dude cares about his horses. Like he treats them right. Like good guy. Like he can spend some money on his horses. Like he doesn't need to go down to 145, become Skeletor, and then get his ass kicked by Max Holloway again.
Jesus Christ. He didn't even get his ass kicked. It just was over after he just went down from nothing. He got
Oh,
Yeah, I
yeah,
a
remember.
couple shots.
nothing. People
Yeah,
don't go
yeah,
from nothing.
He literally went down
no,
from nothing.
he
Yeah,
said
so
he
he just
pulled. Yeah, he
He
said
was
he was.
grabbing his throat or chest area. Like nobody knew what happened.
No. So I remember that fight. So afterwards, he said that he suddenly lost feeling and he felt a very sharp pain, and
what?
that he might have torn his esophagus. And then when they checked it out, there was nothing wrong with him.
Holy shit! See, just don't go back to 145. It's cursed. Stay where you are.
Man,
Oh, it's so weird.
it was very weird. I mean, like his whole career is weird when you really think about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, good job, Chucky Olives. Stay at 155.
Yeah, I like
Just
him at that division.
yeah.
Yeah.
Quick shout outs. Zach Otto got a gift decision. Bobby Green, thanks for the memories. I thought you won that fight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that was not. I don't want to use the word robbery, but
it was a robbery.
that was a robbery.
Yeah. What is it about extremely confident people? Like I'm gonna say it, and then you guys can then disagree with me. But I think that there is a thing like a recurring theme of like loud-spoken black guys that for whatever reason end up losing fights they appear to win.
With this, I don't think it's
I
so
don't really
much that.
know if we can
Just
really say
because
anything there. Like I just don't
Green
know
was
if we have
slipping,
any
and
real.
no, but
I don't
like
know
in
if
this
there's
fight,
data
I
on that.
don't think that was a big factor
Yeah, I don't know
because
if there's
Green
data
was
on it. I just don't know.
no.
Yeah, I'm
What
gonna
I
go
was
back. Like I'm
no,
gonna go
what I
back
was
to a bunch of
what I
fights.
what I was getting at was that Green was slipping a lot of punches, and MMA judges are known to be kind of shitty at being able to pick out when punches actually land.
Yeah, there were a lot of Bobby Green is a counterpuncher, and he lands a lot of his counters in combinations. It's not like a one shot counter where he like blasts you and then gets out, but he really does operate a lot in the pocket. And we know that MMA judges are terrible at that.
Yeah.
That is also
I
true.
think that's the one which is always confusing to me because at least nowadays it seems like MMA judges are they still a lot of boxing judges?
No, because a lot of MMA judges in general do not understand counter striking. They don't understand body shots, and they don't understand a lot of like pocket boxing. I don't think that those are boxing judges, unless the same boxing judges are just bad at boxing. You know?
Fair.
Could be.
Maybe. But yeah, moving on. Jared Gordon and Joaquim Silva had a fucking war. Um,
Oh, that fight.
that fight was great. Jared Gordon
Shut
at the
up.
end of the second round, Silva did like a knee bar and it kind of fucked up Jared's leg,
Uh,
and he just could not physically move. Like you could see, he was forced to sit there exchanging in the pocket while being gazzed. Silva's body punches were fucking ruthless.
No, what
Oh,
I liked about that fight there was after the second round when Silva hurt Gordon's knee. When he came out in the third, he looked like freaking a gas John Lineker. Like he was just winging punches at a stationary target.
yep. Yeah.
Oh,
I
was
mean,
so insane. And I mean, Silva nearly lost in the got KO'd in the first round. It
yeah,
was like
it was an
the
awesome fight.
entire fight. Yeah.
It was an awesome fight. Um,
Hey,
yeah.
hey, Alejandro, did you watch it?
but sounds like a shit fight, and I'm glad I didn't watch it.
Jesus Christ. You suck. After that, the only person I really care about mentioning is Jack Hermanson and Gerald Mearshart. Alejandro, if you want to be very angry at Fight IQ, go watch that fight. Just
Yeah,
go.
I
I'm not
didn't
going to
watch it.
spoil it for
Nope.
you. But Gerald Mearshart has the absolute worst Fight IQ in the
Oh
sport.
God, what did he do?
Just go watch it. Just go watch it.
No, I'm
Jack
not gonna
Hermanson
watch it.
called out.
Okay,
Just
okay,
watch it.
wait. So
It's
I'll
actually
give
it's a
you.
fun fight. It's fun to watch. It's just a beatdown. It's a 1-round beatdown.
Yeah.
It's worth watching. I'd also like to point out that Jack Hermanson finished him with a guillotine choke that I kind of use a modified version of all the time with the arm across. I love that choke, so that was awesome to see. It's similar to the one that Pat Curran used to finish Frodo Kospolaev, I think.
There's a guy named Frodo.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
the real fighter.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and fun fact, I made that my favorite submission technique after I saw it with Pat Curran. So it's good to see it used again. I'm not joking.
Nice.
I like that's my that's now it's my second favorite, but that's still my go-to from the front headlock. So Jack Hermanson, I think, called out Elias Theodoro, and I forgot the second person he called out, but I wouldn't mind seeing Elias fight Jack Hermanson. He's I think Hermanson's like 4-1 right now, or 5-1 at middleweight. So do you, or 5-2, I think actually. He lost to Thiago Santos as well. So see who's the better of the two who lost to Thiago Santos. Anything else you guys want to discuss before we end?
Just three things. Now that you mentioned Thiago,
Three?
yeah, it's quick.
Fine.
First
I can do
thing,
two. I can do two.
yes, Thiago Santos said that he changed his approach in the Jimmy Manuwa like just before the fight. He said like, oh, maybe I shouldn't fight technically. I'm gonna brawl. And then that his coach said like the man that has been teaching them this like to be fight technical. He said, I believe in you. Go brawl. And then he went and brawled.
Yeah, I know. That's why we love him. We do.
That's amazing.
What's the
Second, one mention, Jinju Fry retained the atomweight title, which only means that we need to see Hamderley fight her because she already has a KO over her. It was a very difficult fight, high pitched, like hard to call to an extent, but I think she won it. Good for her. Shouts out to her, and also shout out to Montserrat Ruiz, who lost her fight against Danielle Taylor. Holy shit, that was difficult to watch. But yeah, learning experience. She had been off for more than a year, so just needs more time, I guess. But yeah, it was bummed. Like this weekend was really shitty. Like all the people I was rooting for lost. So only Canelo actually pulled through.
I'm glad you mentioned Canelo because I was otherwise.
How did I think of that?
Yeah, just real quick, Canelo beat up a high-level punching bag.
Yeah, he was a warm body. Poor guy.
Anyway, moving on. Bilal?
No, I just want to say that I had a great weekend, unlike Alejandro.
Oh, fuck you.
Is that all you wanted to say? Tell us more why it was great compared to Alejandro's.
Oh, I got to see Barboza just like take out his deep-seated hatred on internal organs. Like, that was just brutal, which I liked because it came from Barboza. And
man,
like if there's one fighter I actually like seeing spinning shit from, it's Barboza, just because when it lands, it's so spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was just like just taking losses. Like, it was just a tough fucking weekend. Like, Lara lost, Lee lost, Ruiz lost, and just fucking Canelo went out and fought like a warm body. And was like, there you go. Not everything is shit. And I'm like, ah, crap.
Silver lining, a Raging
Yeah.
Owl will probably get even more interviews now.
Oh my god, yes.
That guy's so much fun.
I saw this on Twitter. I don't know who, so I can't give them a shout out. But they were talking about like, for the love of God, put Matt Serra and Ray Longo on commentary just once. I don't know if you guys could hear them because they kept.
Oh, I could hear them.
I could too.
There were random like bouts of no sound during the broadcast, so it's phenomenal. Oh my god, yeah, it was like 5, 6, 7 seconds of just no sound, and it's because you can hear that Matt Serra and Ray Longo were cursing. It was great. And with that, thank you for joining us here another episode. I have been your host, Ben Cohn. Bilal, Alejandro, any final words?
Yeah, man, I don't know. I'm bummed. I'm kind of bummed.
Bilal. You know
What?
Bilal has to behave on the end of this one. Any last
What?
words?
Yeah. Say something, little talk shit.
Oh, wait, what? Oh,
God.
fuck you.
That,